I've
I've been
been
paying for it for like
just
a year and a half without realizing. So
wait. How do you do that though? Like, I need to know that part.
recording live from count them, two locations. This is Past the Rock. I am Patrick, and this week I am joined once again by Caesar under NDA LCs.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, I don't know what excuse you guys put for my absence last week, but I'm under NDA
I think
as
we
to
said
why
you were
I was absent.
in an undisclosed location, getting information, something like that. Um,
You're
are
not
you
wrong.
now?
You're
So the
absolutely
one
not
we've
wrong.
already before we started talked about one thing. What about the other thing? Is that like strict? You can't say anything.
Oh. So that one, it might be strict because that
Fair
company,
enough. Yeah.
will search all up and down the internet to see who squeals. However, off record, I can definitely say now, if this company goes through with what they're saying they're going to do, we'll do an episode where I'm like, yeah, I was part of the focus group for this shit.
Exciting. I love that.
But yeah,
Closest I've gotten to that is
that's it. That's
we
about it.
used to do
Wait,
like taste tests for Lay's chips
hold on.
as a fundraiser.
Uh, wait, can we take a quick pause?
Yeah.
Wait, can we take a quick pause?
All right. As if it was
Awkward.
we were just actively being
As
listened
if
to
nothing had
by
ever happened
by the world.
by
Somehow
one of the organization, right?
we got a call about from one of the organizations Caesar dealt with in the last week. But anyways, that's all fine, and we're moving forward. So obviously Bethke's not here. He's prepping for his worldly travels. He's gonna be out for a couple weeks, halfway across the world. And if he wants to tell us about that later, he can. I don't want to dox him.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's gonna be in a fucking what was it, 15 something hour time difference. It's crazy.
he's gonna be over
That man
there
will
for
be in the
sure.
future.
And then the next
Yeah, he's
time
gonna
you
be in the
see him,
future while we're in the past.
the next time you see him, he may be in his new apartment, or he may be in a new apartment, and we'll get to have fun with that too.
Oh yeah.
He did say the last one was the last one from that spot, uh, but we weren't foreseeing any complications in that process. But we'll see. But
Yeah.
anyways, he'll be back
I.
in a couple
Whew.
weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
Good. Good thing DFW has
yeah.
plenty of places to rent.
So look, we'll pop right off with sports with this little neat note. This is very short. I just saw this headline today and I thought it was cool. I'm gonna pull it back up so I don't get the wording back wrong again. So I'm not sure what this interview was about, why it was happening. Um, but Deontay Murray talked about when his mother was shot, and Greg Popovich personally called her. Didn't talk to Deontay, called her and was like, "I want to pay to move you here to San Antonio," which is a pretty wild thing for a coach to do, and you don't get a lot of people in power doing nice things like that. So I just wanted to point it out. He's a legend.
No, not at all, man.
Luckily, he's still with the team. Gonna miss
Stand
him
up
on the
guy.
court, but what are you gonna do? Good job, Pop.
Yeah. I
Proud of
mean,
you, bud.
I'm sure when the games are on, he'll be courtside or they'll pay into
For
the
some of
suite.
them, for sure.
There's no way
Unless he
he's
just doesn't
not
want
gonna.
to. I could see him saying he doesn't want to distract from the people actively working. I could see that. But yeah, you'll still get
Yeah.
camera cuts to him. My guess is he won't be on the road, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So then the real, kind of real, not happening on the court news in the NBA this week was the surprise trade of Desmond Bane. I don't know if this shocked you at all to see. I thought it was a pretty wild deal.
I mean, he is one of the Grizzlies' best players. So at some point, at some level, you're like, oh, that is surprising. I think that caught me most off guard regarding the trade was the compensation. That I was like, because I don't view Desmond Bane, and this may be just because I'm a lot more of a casual viewer.
Because
Like I don't
neither of
view
us are
Desmond
watching
Bane as
Orlando
that
Magic
highly
basketball or
touted of a
Memphis
player.
Grizzly basketball.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part being a small market team, I guess you play outside of that one superstar you got there, who can't who can't stop playing with some
Yeah,
weapons
and
here
they
and
also have
there,
Jaren Jackson
allegedly.
Jr. So I think the thinking was they weren't going to be able to pay all three of those guys what they were going to demand. And so they got back quite a bit. Obviously, Contavious Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected firsts. But the way NBA
That's the
draft picks
crazy
work
part.
nowadays, I'm still not really sure what all that means because there's some swaps in there and it'll get
Well,
played
either
out as
way,
time plays out.
yeah, like all it takes is one like injury struck year for a team to just have a really great lottery pick, and next thing you know, you're like, wait, we don't have control of
That
that
is
one.
not our lottery pick.
It's
Yeah.
not our pick. That's gonna go to the other guy or the other team.
And I feel like one of them is this year's first round pick, but I'm not entirely certain. I was confused reading about it. A lot of people wanted to try to compare it to the Luka trade, which I guess is just going to happen when any All Star level player gets traded at this point. It's nothing
Well,
close to that. It shouldn't be compared to that. But I
I
think
guess they're
the
gonna
bring
like
back
just
is
look at
like,
the
well, what did the Mavs get?
which is always going to be a very fair thing to bring up because of just the differences in ages between Anthony Davis and Luca. And then you're like,
And
well,
yeah,
all right,
and no matter how good Anthony Davis is, he's not Luka. No one really
he's
is. There's only been a couple of all time like that. So
yeah, and I'm sure if Bethke was here, he'd say something along the lines of Anthony Davis being it being
he's a
I
borderline
guess.
Hall of Fame player. I think. I don't
Well, I know
know if he
he's
gets
a
in or
for
not.
sure he's a
Is
for
he?
sure Hall of Fame player
Is he?
for sure.
I don't think he's got
There's
the
player. I mean, he has the
basketball is the
rings.
easiest one to get into, but
I mean, he
a
has the
lot of that
rings. He has
is
the success in
college and
college, I
European
think.
or college and Olympic stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you just look at his career for a big man. You're like, all right, yeah, this is definitely Hall of Fame worthy numbers. You just probably don't ever think of him as the like the cornerstone franchise player because the time he was one, uh, New Orleans didn't do anything,
And he missed a
and
lot of time with
missed a lot
them.
of time. And then he comes to the Lakers, and he's playing number two behind LeBron James
That's for sure.
until like that the last few years where it looked like it was transitioning to AD being the guy in LA, and now he's technically the guy in Dallas. But for
Well,
how
no, he's
long?
not. Not anymore.
I mean,
Not after the draft.
I mean, it's gonna take a while for Cooper Flag to really establish himself.
We'll
Not
see.
in year one, maybe year two, year three, and that's if he pans out and reaches his ceiling. I mean, who's to know? I won't know because I won't be watching the Mavericks because fuck them.
And then speaking of the team that Anthony Davis came from, that Luka is now playing for, um, the Los Angeles Lakers have entered an agreement to sell the majority. The Buss family is selling to some financial group that owns like 10, 15 other franchises,
Most
including
notably
the
the
Dodgers
Dodgers.
and
Yep.
LAFC, I believe, one of the LA MLS teams. They got
And
a
I believe
Formula
this
One
financial
team.
group is the majority owner of the Dodgers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it's all
them
staying
and them and
in
Magic
the family.
Johnson.
Yeah, it's all
Uh,
staying in the family, like for the most part, I guess you could say. Like by family, I mean the Los Angeles pro sports scene family.
um, and I think it's what they say, $10 billion sale,
Yeah, that's the highest amount
roughly.
for any team that's ever been sold in North American sports. I think in any sport actually.
Okay, so now he's the principal owner or primary owner of the Lakers. He's got Andretti Global, which is huge in racing, obviously. So that's the Cadillac Formula One team. He owns the Sparks in the WNBA, uh, and he might have started the Professional Women's Hockey League, or at least he's funding a good amount of it. So
Yeah.
he's all over the
Mark,
place.
yep, Mark Walter,
Mark Walter.
he owns the Dodgers, now owns the Lakers. He's essentially owning all of LA sports at this rate.
But yeah, I assume it's. I don't know if it's entirely separate from the Guggenheim partners that he works with. I'm a little confused how all that private equity stuff works, but
I would imagine that he's gonna like They're
Well, I
gonna
think
have
he'd
to
be
have
the
subs.
okay. So he owns TWG Global Holdings, which I believe is what they use to buy the Lakers. If I'm not entirely, it's I
All right, so Guggenheim is baseball. It's just a baseball management group. So they primarily just deal with the Dodgers, from what I'm seeing on a very quick wiki search.
well, they're like a advisory of like financial advisory and investment firm. So they work for a lot of big companies and they advise on mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that. It's big money, and they spent big money to get the Lakers. That is 2.5 Star Warses. Uh, obviously,
Jeez.
money's gone up a little bit, but the Lakers are about to just be raking it in with the money that guy's probably going to put in and the money Luka's bringing on top of LeBron. So
Oh, they also
luckily,
own
there's
the
a salary
Sparks.
cap. Yeah, the Sparks. And like I said, I think they got a piece of the new women's hockey league that just started too. Um, so yeah, that's crazy news. I think the only thing comparable would be as if Jerry sold
Yeah, or Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember. I know Jerry bought the Cowboys out at like 189 million. I think Steinbrenner got the Lakers for less than that.
The
Um,
Yankees.
yeah, sorry, the Yankees. I'm pretty sure when Buss bought the Lakers in '79, they weren't worth quite that much either. So this is a huge payout for the Buss family. I think it's probably the smart move if they don't really want the team that bad. You know what I mean? Like she's still
Well,
technically gonna be governor for a little bit.
she will have a minority share of the team, about
It's
15% for a
it's a
period of
lot
time.
like the language of when Cuban sold, where they're like, "Oh, still gonna be around, no problem. Don't even worry about it."
Yeah,
6 months later, I don't know if she'll still be involved. It'd be hard to completely remove the Buss family from decision, or at least from the public face. I just wonder about decisions, how much that's gonna matter.
probably won't matter. Like they're I don't think they'll have any real say on the team until I guess whatever time period they no longer have a significant amount of stake under the team. You know,
And that'll bring us. Obviously, this is a bigger story than we probably have the
capacity
historical
for.
context to to bring in, and it just happened a few hours ago, also. So that's
Yeah, at the time of this recording. So
it's wild, and we'll definitely rely on Jacob to come in and tell us why it's a bigger deal than we think it is. Honestly, I think just like Cuban, I think she sold low, lower than she could have at least.
well, what were they valued at is what I want to know, because 10 billion is quite a bit still.
It is, but it's the effing Lakers. Like I don't know.
Because it's I believe it's okay. Let's see.
I thought the same
I'm just
thing
gonna look.
about George Lucas with selling Star Wars to Disney. Like he sold it for $4 billion, and they've already made that back up. So
Let's see. I'm gonna look up the Forbes most valuable sports teams
Cowboys.
as of 2024. So Cowboys are number one at 10 billion. Right. So that number is gonna shoot up with this sale. I know that's not how it probably should work,
No, I mean
considering they're
that's
different
how things
sports.
work, though.
Yeah. So it's like, oh well, the Lakers just sold for 10 billion. Could you imagine what the Cowboys get? Weirdly enough, the Warriors shot up to second at 8.8 billion, and the Lakers were valued at 7.1 billion dollars. So they
And
sold above what they were listed, at least by
valued at.
Forbes.
And I
Valued at
think
by
maybe
Forbes.
maybe the difference between them and what the Cowboys have is if Jerry really wanted to sell it, he also like owns half the land in DFW that he could sell with it. Like I bet like he could probably sell the team and still own the star, you know, but if he
Yeah,
sells
yeah,
both, then he could make more.
yeah. He would sell because he would own the
But I don't
star.
know how much that's built into those Forbes evaluations either.
I think it has to take into effect like the arena too, right?
But
Because you
the
have
arena, but then yeah, I don't know like
the arena,
if he
just
still owns the land the
the
facility's
brand.
on, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it
Um,
would have to include, I think, all team facilities,
probably.
as well as the overall value of the brand. And a lot of the value of the brand comes from: are you a successful franchise, or are you just been around long enough to matter? Based
Sometimes it
on name
matters.
value, you know. Because you look at the Warriors and you're like, all right, well, listen, outside of the Curry run, It's not a whole lot of a great history in the 90s, 80s. Like
Even the 2000s, yeah.
even the 2000s, right?
Until about
But
2012.
you look at Chase Arena, that's brand new. It's in the middle of San Francisco. Like that's going to be worth a lot of money. And then you look at the Warriors, like all that they've won, and that brand has shot up to just an enormous level of relevancy outside of just basketball. Like you can say who the Golden State Warriors are, and people will at least associate it with Steph Curry, and then like they may not have watched him, but they're like, oh, I know who Steph Curry is. He's the basketball player. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'm looking at this list now. I'm like, all right, well, shit, dude. There's a lot of valuable franchises out there. Surprisingly, a soccer team has not cracked the top 10.
This isn't just the U.S.
No, I see Real Madrid listed at number 13, Manchester United at 14, and then it's just a fuck ton of football teams, American football teams. You have FC Barcelona at 20, which is wild, but okay. But yeah, man, we'll definitely get more information, or we'll get some more context of how just, I guess, league shifting this might be.
I mean, yeah, potentially they'll be less afraid to go over the apron tax. Excuse me, all the tax aprons and spend more money, which is, the Dodgers do that every year. There's no cap in baseball, but there are tax aprons or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm sure with this new ownership, they're not going to be scared to spend.
They have
maybe even just
the bus has had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe they're even going to be willing to make some upgrades to the Staples Center. I know it's not called Staples Center anymore, but I'm not going to call it by whatever its actual name is now.
Is it still Crypto? Or is that where I don't even know. That might be where the Clippers play.
No, I forgot what the name of the Clippers arena is. But yeah, no, it's not. It's not. Crypto is not the Clippers.
Intuit Dome.
Intuit Dome is for the Clippers.
The Lakers are still Crypto.com. Hilarious. Anyways, we'll get to our last little bit of basketball here. The finals are happening, and they're not quite over yet. They could end tomorrow night in Indianapolis. The Thunder are up 3-2 after winning that pivotal Game 5. I'm not sure how much of this you've consumed at all. I
have watched 2 full games, and I've watched chunks of all the other games. However, I really only caught the tail, like the beginning. Sorry, the beginning of Game 5, where it was kind of a back and forth. But then you started to see the Thunder kind of, build a bit of a lead, and I just thought to myself, you know what? The Pacers have fought back from these leads before. I'm sure it'll be a tight game at the end. And then I saw the final score, and I thought to myself, all right, maybe I was wrong.
I mean, they did bring it back in. Excuse me, sorry. They did bring it back in pretty close, partly into the third, but they fell behind. They just fell behind too much. 18's a lot to come back from, even in today's NBA, and especially when your best player second best player strains his calf and doesn't hit a single field goal all night.
And it might be his actual. I think it would be safe to say that Halliburton right now is their best.
I think Siakam's still their best player, just in general. Halliburton's he's the guy you want with the ball at the end of the game. But as far as the full game,
but he makes everything go though, doesn't he? He is their point guard. He's the one who has the ball the majority of the time. He's facilitating that offense.
Debatable. I don't know enough, but from everything I see and hear, it sounds like Siakam's the best player. Halliburton's the guy you want with the ball in the fourth. Yeah,
and that's going to be tough because you look at the drop off from whoever the third best player is to Tyrese Halliburton. Like
T.J. McConnell lit it up in Game 5, which wasn't enough because he went on a crazy run there in the third, almost brought him back.
Oh yeah, he went 8 of 14. That's great. But
I'm not seeing anything about the MRI.
Well, no, they did show they will have the results of they'll have the results before the game.
For sure. I was wondering if we got anything today on it.
Nothing today, man. It is unfortunate because he was on a I would say a legacy defining run I mean, it's I know a lot of the word legacy does get thrown around, but if you just think about Tyrese Halliburton's reputation, his standing in the league, how he was viewed, uh, just in an overall lens, you would think, oh yeah, well I know his name. He's a good player. He did that thing with WWE and Jalen Brunson. And now you're like, holy shit, this guy might be one of the best, might be having one of the most impactful playoff runs that we've seen in a while.
And unfortunately, it'd be very
And
Pacers-like for him to have all that and them to fall short still.
yeah, that's a snake bitten franchise if I've ever seen one in basketball.
It's not over till it's over. 3-2 is not as bad as 3-1 or 3-0. We've seen it before, and we'll likely see it again. I just don't know if this will be it. The Thunder are really good, man.
They are, and
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is ridiculous.
Yeah, and you need all hands on deck, and unfortunately, one of the most important ones may be able to suit up, but he will not be anywhere near 100%.
No, it was a non-contact strain, which always makes you feel worse about it.
Absolutely. So, hey man, Pacers fans, you haven't been here in a long time. Just be happy that you're here, I guess, and hope for the best, but prepare for the confetti to fall in wherever Game 5 is being held.
Yeah, Game 6 should be in
Indiana, Game 6, sorry.
And then Game 7 will be back in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, just be emotionally prepared, people of Indiana, or Indianapolis, rather, to see the opposing team's confetti fall on your floor.
Yeah, and it's tough because I don't, as good as they are, do we really think they're going to make a third straight conference final and back into the finals for a second time in a row? It's tough. Tough to do in this parity-driven league nowadays.
Exactly.
The East has some pretty good teams. I can't imagine Boston's just going to fall off.
Although one can hope. One can hope.
Yeah, so that'll continue tomorrow night, which is Thursday, Juneteenth, actually. So maybe they built their schedule on wanting to play on that day. I'm not sure because this is a weird scheduled finals. There were games with 3 days off in between, and games with only 1 day off in between. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, the NBA is weird, man. A lot of the way they schedule things.
Bethke's theory is that they're just trying to eventually get it to where the season ends like a week before the draft.
I
complete the full circle.
That is one way of doing it. I don't think that's a smart idea, but it is for content, I guess.
But we did get
just
one.
Move the draft up earlier.
We did get one finals complete, the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida Panthers in the rematch against Edmonton won again. 2 years in a row, they've knocked Edmonton out in the last round. There were some tight games, but there were also 3 blowouts in favor of Florida, including Game 3 and Game 5. And then that's, getting blown out in a Game 5 is probably not a good sign that you're going to come back and win anything. So the Oilers, who knocked our stars out, they got to... and again, one of the crazy things about hockey is that they do a handshake line after each round. Like, those guys can't just leave. They stay and say good job to everybody, and they stand around for a bit and watch the other team celebrate. Which now makes it 32 straight years that an American NHL team has won the Cup. Which I'm guessing you were probably not alive in '93, were you?
I was, yeah.
Okay, so you might have...
Just recently.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, there's a chance you've never been alive for a Canadian team winning the Cup. I guess I was only 2, so...
I would have been like a few months old at that point.
In the summer?
Yep. I was born in December of 92, so there you go.
There it is, yeah. So it's been a long time, and Edmonton 2 years in a row has kind of dropped the ball, but also we shouldn't forget to mention Florida's really good. It helps that the East isn't as much of a bloodbath to get through in the playoffs, but they've still looked impressive both years against the team that did win the West, so I'm not sure. Not sure you could take anything away from them on that. What is this little warning? Ooh. Connection is unstable. I'm sure we'll be fine. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so not too much to say on this. Florida's just really good, and Bobrovsky is an incredible goalie who we unfortunately won't get to see in the Olympics because Russia sucks. Not hockey, just as a country.
Oh yeah.
Well, the people in charge suck, I should say. I don't know enough about the actual people living there. I'm sure there's plenty of great people there.
We can only
But
assume.
uh, yeah, so Florida wins again. Those teams are both top 2 or 3 in odds to win again next year. I don't remember if the Stars are even in the top 5 right now. Hopefully they can figure that out. I don't know if you heard, or you weren't out. You were out, I think, when the official news that the coach was fired. Um, so we're on a coaching search right now.
Yeah. Is there anybody that you want to have be
Uh,
the new guy in
I'm
charge,
just
or
gonna trust that Jim Nill picks the right guy because I have no idea what a hockey coach even does at this point.
I mean, set the culture, have good lineups. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems weird. Hopefully, someone
The
who can
way
maximize the team that's been built. Because on paper, this team is incredible.
Yeah, because okay, so and this may be just my football bias, but like football coaches, for the most part what they do, right? They create the plays, the playbooks. They obviously have to get the team ready to execute all these different elaborate plays, both on offense and defense. But there's like set times, right? Like set plays, and like the action stops after a play is over. But like team, like
yeah, the fluid
basketball,
sports a
hockey,
little
fluid
different.
sports, it's a little different. It's hard to know. I mean, I know in basketball you can draw up plays, but a lot of that happens outside of timeouts. And I know there's videos of LeBron calling plays,
Sure, I
um,
mean in
and calling out
basketball,
other
you
people's
have every
plays.
inbound. You've got a couple of different frameworks you're going to start with. The same with hockey. Anytime they drop the puck, you're going to say, "This is what we want to do from this," and then you just play
Yeah,
off of if that worked or not.
but everything feels so fluid and so out of control of the coach once the action starts that it's hard to know what their impact is.
For sure, and I think all we can say is we know that DeBoer's DeBoer just wasn't working anymore, and it wasn't getting over the hump. So that's what we're
And
looking to there. We
the
did get
board
some
has
nice,
a hard time getting over the hump historically too.
yes, and maybe someday he will. Some guys just takes a little bit longer. Carlisle didn't win one for a long time in basketball.
Yeah,
Um,
but was
Andy Reid
Carlisle
didn't win
almost
one a long
60?
time in
Oh yeah,
football.
well, oh that's
There's
true.
always those. So he's a good enough coach. He'll still get plenty of opportunities to do it for a while because he's not old. Um,
I mean, he's got to be pushing 60. I don't know what the age range for coaches in hockey are.
just go till you can't go no more. Um,
Heard that.
we did get. They're starting to release. I don't know why they do it this way, but all the Olympic hockey teams release like their first 6 that are gonna definitely be on the team. There's 3 stars already named for Team Finland. We'll probably have another one at least on there. So that's fun. When the Olympics comes around, Olympic hockey is like playoff hockey on crack. Especially because we're just trying to beat Canada. That's all we really need. And it's tough to do in those tournaments. They're the best of the best still. But Finland and the USA should be fun to watch. Again, it's sad Russia doesn't get to play because they've got some really good players, including the goalie who's won back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. But that's the price they got to pay for that.
Any chance we can pry the goalie away from the Florida Panthers?
That's not going to help us. We have a top goalie in the league as well.
But do we have the top goalie?
I don't think the Panthers is the top goalie. He's just the one that's won the last 2 years.
Causation, cause and effect, maybe.
No, he's
Because
fine. He's a really good goalie. I don't want to take anything away from him.
yeah, just anything to get them over the hump.
That's not the change. The change is all the old dudes who can't score. Now most of them are gone, so we'll see what happens. That might wrap up our first half here. So we can get to the super fun stuff.
Right.
So that was our best attempt to cover basketball and a little bit of hockey. You know.
We'll do better next time, Jacob.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Right. Well, then the other thing that I keep forgetting, I'm gonna try to do to get consistency. Let's just let this kind of run a little bit as we fade on out.
We're gonna get faded.
Low key faded, bro. Zeke Elliott, 2020.
15, probably.
I don't know.
Whenever he was good. Whenever the last time he was good. 2016, 2017.
And we'll see you in the second half.